Alright, chapter 3. You can quit smoking here. Here's how. 21 million people have successfully quit smoking, so if you can't, you can if you really want to, but how? What can you get with the necessary strength and fortitude and willpower? Let's admit it, truth, all kinds of gadgets, gimmicks, potions, medicines have come into the market protruding to help smokers quit smoking. None of them have proved 100% effective. Gimmickry and gadgetry are not the answer. Pills, drugs, and candy chewing gum are not the answer. All these remedies miss the heart and core of the problem, the smoker himself and his attitude. How to enjoy life. Do you really want to enjoy your life that's rich and thrilled with its lives? Do you want to appreciate tantalizing aromas, bits, crispy smells of fresh smoke, spicy scents of the nature that stop smoking? Give yourself lungs a chance to repair themselves. And an astonishing thing happens. When people stop smoking, lung damage is reversed. When men and women stop smoking, body defenses come into play with the destruction of the precancerous cells. The lung gradually turns pink again, but just one type of 2 cigarettes a day prevents the healing process, so does switching pipes or cigars. In 1604, James I, the King of England, published the famous counterblast of tobacco. He concluded with the treaty of calling smoking a costume loathsome to the eye, hateful with the noise, and harmful with the brain, dangerous to the lungs, and black stinking fume thereof, nears resembling the horrible Stygian smoke over the pit that is bottomless. A colorful description, no doubt, but today's smoking has provided beyond the shadow of a doubt to be lonesome, harmful, dangerous to the lungs, and serious public health menace. Lame duck excuses. Recent publication clearinghouse for smoking health estimated 51% of the men of 17 years and older of cigarette smokers and 34% of women. The most of the common consumption rate was between 16 and 25 cigarettes a day. Pamphlet put out with a public health survey that indicates about 1.5 million Americans give up the smoking habit every year. With the American Cancer estimate that there are now 21 ex-cigarette smokers in the United States, including 100,000 physicians. These figures ought to be encouraging. If you're not a smoker who wants to quit, it obviously can be done, but how? Cigarette slaves come up with the many foolish excuses they continue to smoke. One says, I smoke until I get into the trouble, then I go quit, and I'll be okay. The trouble is, by the time smoker knows he in trouble, he wanted too long to do anything about it, and it's too late. Another says, no, I'm going to give up smoking. I may die young, but I'll die happy. The confidence in what? But really what? Die happy? He may think of it happy now, but he's ruining his life, missing out with the real pleasure of living and experienced life with the minus of cigarette cough, the chronic illness of smoking, and the final agony of lung cancer or bronchitis. But usual excuses similar to one's housewife said, I'd like to give up the cigarettes, but I can't. The habit is too strong, or as another put it, I'm concerned about the reports, but I've tried to stop it and I couldn't. The Kansas City switchboard with the operator declared that I know that for a long time smoking is terrible for your health, but I've never been able to quit. I don't suppose this will be many difference. Another woman said, I really think that I shouldn't smoke, but the kind of hard to quit, I'm going to think about it. With another would admit she smoked for 3 packs a day and confess, I'm scared. I don't know if I cannot stop it, then I will try for the night time. I take a good look at the excuses of continuing to smoke, especially the last 5 of them admitted that they wanted to quit, but felt they couldn't. They were the virtually helpless slaves of the nicotine habit, whether they were pessimistic about the quitting. Perhaps you feel basically the same way. How can you quit the tobacco habit? Let's understand. Why do you smoke? In order to conquer the smoking habit, you must be willing to face up with the real reason why you smoke. Dr. Daniel Horn, director of the National Clearinghouse of Smoking Health, took a survey of 5,000 smokers and uncovered the reasons they smoked. He found 10% used cigarettes as a stimulant and 8% similarly enjoyed the lighting and handling of the cigarette. 30-40% smoking achieved the pleasant for relaxation. There are many better ways to relax. Another 45 to 50% smoke relieve anxiety and tension. Many of these were found go on to become an addicted chain smoker. The last category of smoker 1, finding smokers the most difficult to give up. 40% of smokers are heavy smokers or compulsive smokers. They quit as not as easy. The cigarette addict. A regular smoker tends to develop some degree of dependence of the tobacco, some to the point where significant emotional disturbances occur if they are derived from its use. Why this is, say Dr. C.W. Leibel, botanically speaking, tobacco is a drug and a narcotic, unlike alcohol or opium, soothing qualities do not take an effect until the smoker has addicted to the soothing qualities and large measure of the relief of the irritation caused by the drug craving. Those who smoke, however, do not usually face up with the realities so honestly. Do not let smoking kill you, page 11. Alright, Dr. Label illustrated with a bolt, but nicotine is a drug. As one continues with the smoke, but the one gets used to it, but the one becomes the word of addictive, develops higher and higher threshold of the tolerance of the confirmed telephone can handle the amounts of the nicotine would be poisoners. Non-smoke, but the tobacco is not physically addicting with the same with the heroin, cocaine, with the barbiturates, nevertheless an addicting sense of the user, becoming dependent with the craving, in effect with becoming habituated with the smoking habitual comes compulsive in some heavy smokers, but because physiological dependence on it, with the cigarette addicted there, but although not addictive the same way, but the heroin addict does not rely heavily on tobacco, thinking that he cannot do without it. His mind is addicted to it, addicted sometimes come with a cigarette, the cough and nail with a gas, but they might addict to the smoking like as a furnace. He also invariably begins with a daily routine with a cigarette. He does this beginning with a cough, the gas, with a little cigarette between the teeth. Some smokers may become addicted to the smoking in the same way that the alcoholics become the addictive of the alcohol to them. Cigarettes are satisfied with the urgent psychological need of the cigarette addicts. Addicts believes that smoking helps him calm under the tension, stress-filled job because of this very difficult to habit to abandon cigarette habit. But even addicted smoker can overcome with the quiet habits of his hope is for all smokers. Smoke. Here's how. The first thing you have to do to realize when you smoke that you must think of all of the reasons you should not smoke. If you really try, perhaps write them on a paper that you can think of a dozen good reasons why you should not smoke. One, some of the reason first course for there is the threat of lung cancer, a fatal disease. Also, a non-smoker has energy with the vitality to enjoy the life. His smoke, his mind is to function better. He saves money. Other the reason for the quit and to prove the willpower that set with the right example for children. When you stop smoking, your food taste will better. Your throat won't be continually clogged with phlegm. You will be getting rid of the hacking cigarette cough. Actually, you will gradually begin to feel much less nervous, even though the maybe hard due to believe. First few days after you quit, you might feel more nervous more gradually than nervous, then will diminish and will become calmer and more poised. Remember, smoking is actually a crutch to many of the people that help us escape with the stress and strain with the tension of smoking is one with the train with the escapism available to people that today that have the final kickback with a deadly boomerang effect for the smoker. When you are quitting smoking, you will be able to enjoy the life with the much breathing fresh air while pleasure of smelling with the wonderful odors of the nature of the tannin of the olfactory nerves. We will sleep better, nor of the dangerous accidents of fires in the bed, nor ugly cigarette butts lying around the house. Why you may wake up in the morning, you'll begin to feel like with a new man, with a new woman that you will have with the feel of the intensify with the satisfaction, pleasure of the freedom from the slavery of the tobacco habit. Your life will be healthier, happier, and more joyful and abundant. All these things will become yours after you've conquered with the kick your cigarette habit completely. Some of these blessings will gradually, some of them will be apparently very soon. Think of the benefits of not smoking. Think of the gruesome cost of smoking form in your mind with a strong desire, motivation, resolve to quit smoking. Do not do these things. You have a good beginning of the stopping smoking, but there's much more than that. You must do it if you want to make sure that you completely overcome the vile, noxious habit. Plan out or strategize, avoid temptations, realize before you begin with giving up sick of it is a major project for you, depending on the extent of the habit that requires firmness, determination, tremendous personal effort, but reward is successfully worth it. Therefore, facing up with the fact that this is the first thing you quit, you probably be nervous and attention, craving for tobacco, and face the fact that smoking is a deadly hold on you. Overcome, you take time and effort, a certain amount of suffering, but realize you can do it, and the final result is worth it for you. Always keep your goal in mind. Never let it go and haze you to disappear from your view. Keep your eyes on the goal. When do you usually smoke? Face the particular times and temptation, avoiding so much as possible to do that, and don't foolishly put yourself in a situation when you compromise when your goal, where your friends are relative that might persuade you to give just one. Chances are, if you do, you'll be hooked again, right back on the start. So don't chance right. It might be tough sledding for a while, but it helps if there's no doubt you can do it. You may realize the start of one of the hurdles most cope with In our smoking society environment, cigarettes are advertised everywhere, whether you're a friend with a relative with probably smoke. Prepare your mind for face, difficulty square with it. Don't give them outside pressure. Determine yourself with nothing. Yes, nothing will deter you from the path you've set. As you proceed with the reinforce the behavior, giving yourself a little rewards along the way. This may help the pathway somewhat easier for you. Also, smoking substitute fruit, raisin, chewing gum, and such things might help you a little and get your mind off cigarettes. Fruit would be a substantial substitute. These things, however, they do not take place of their own willpower, sheer personal motivation, overcome smoking, and merely stop gap measures which provide little help along the way. Stop completely. Some have found that the deep breathing and exercise help overcome some of it by getting the mind off of the temptation onto something worthwhile. But it's the key to remember how simple as this. When you quit completely, stop all smoking. Use the cold turkey method. The tapering off also never works. Tapering off method only spreads agony with withdrawal over a long period of time. As one man put it, with a tapering down is about as humane as cutting the dog tails off by inches, and so it hurts so much. So it won't hurt so much. So few many may quit smoke successfully by the tapering off. We cannot recommend it for this method. However, it is too risky. They don't work for the most people. If the help you need, if the smoker really wanted to overcome the habit of cigarette, become carefully absorbed with its method, leaning and sinking deeply, scrutinize the picture of the graphically portray the effect of the smoking, take it in seriously. Don't try to shrug it off, justify your problems, and admit the truth, but determined to change. Remember that it's your life. If you need help to quit smoking besides this booklet you're reading, then sure, the writing for our other literature reveal the laws of health and success of developing willpower. We have a free booklet entitled 7 Laws of Successful, color, profusely illustrated, practical and vitality interesting, which shows how to set the right goal in case of quitting smoking, how to develop the drive you need to accomplish the goal, and how to develop resourceful perseverance and stick to it stick-to-itiveness. This book will be a real help. The reprint article is entitled 7 Keys to Radiant Health. It may also be great help if you want. Also, if you're a Christian, you will want to write as your free copy of the article, Should a Christian Smoke? You'll find it very interesting, giving many scriptural principles on the subject, showing just what the Bible says about smoking. It says more than you probably suppose. All this literature will be sent to you free of the asking the serve that the public interest of the ambassador college. Your life is your own. It's up to you whether you stop smoking, continue puffing lethal weed, and what decision you're going to make, and knowing that will affect the health and possible health of your children. Whatever decision you make, you must live with it and possibly die with it, and earnestly hope you make the right decision. Alright, and this was You Can Quit Smoking. And that was William F. Duncanbring, Ambassador College Research and Development.